But you're just recently coming out of a bout with cancer.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It was.
And not just any kind of cancer for a singer. And you had tonsil.
Throat cancer.
Throat cancer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it started up end of October of last year, maybe a little before that. I started the sensation. It felt, and I explained it this way all along. I felt like I had the skin of a Spanish peanut stuck in my throat.
Wow.
You know what that feels like, and you can't wash it down. It would not go away. Mm-hmm. And I was continually drinking something or trying to clear my throat. Continually.
Oh man.
I cut my last record. Chuck Howard and Barry Weeks produced it. And just so much fun. We had such a great time. I hadn't worked with Chuck in a long time. It was so much fun to work with Chuck.
So great.
And but I kept having to drink water like crazy, trying to get rid of this thing. And so I went to the doctor before Christmas tour rehearsal started in November, and they said, "Oh, you got a tonsil infection." So they put me on antibiotics. Well, midway through the rehearsal week, let me see, we went through rehearsal week, into the first week of the tour, Thanksgiving week came up. I called and said, "It's not getting another round of antibiotics." And it just didn't get better, the whole Christmas tour. But I sang well.
Really?
Made it through the tour. Didn't affect me. It just drove me nuts. And got home and called the doctor's office. Said, "I need to see a specialist. Just get me in to see somebody." I went to go see a gentleman down at St. Thomas West, doctor there. He said, "Hey, John, how you doing?" And he said, "You won't remember me, but we met in 1997. I was an intern with Dr. Ossoff when you had vocal cord surgery."
Wow.
So all these years later, we're in the room together, you know. So we talked about what was going on and all that. And he said, "Well, he said, we can talk a lot, but he said, nothing works like, let me take a look." So he looked down my throat and he sat down. He said, "Well, I've been doing this a long time." He said, "Looks like throat cancer to me."
Just like that.
He said, he prefaced by saying, "I'm a no BS kind of guy."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm straight up. He said, "I'm going to tell you what I see." He said, "It looks like cancer to me."
Jeez.
My wife said, "Are you sure?" He said, I've been seeing this for a long time." He said, "That's what it is." They did a tonsillectomy a couple of days later, took out, I still have both my tonsils, and that tickle was a tumor sticking out the back of the tonsil and just touching on the back of my throat.
Whoa.
Just enough to drive
That's
me
what
nuts.
you'd been feeling.
And there was another tumor in the other tonsil developing. And because of the two tumors, they got real radical with the treatment, and I did 5 weeks of radiation Monday through Friday, so 35 treatments of radiation.
Jeez.
And 7 treatments of chemotherapy.
Whoa.
For your viewers and listeners who have never gone through cancer before, it is not for sissies. Mm-hmm. I will never look at somebody in a wheelchair at Walmart the same. That I know, you can tell they're fighting cancer. They are fighting a battle.
Yes.
And all within the walls of their being. And the emotional, and I mean, the cancer is one thing. The treatment is unbelievable.
Really?
The chemotherapy is friggin' believable. The first week they gave me chemotherapy. It's an IV that they give you, you know. Mm-hmm. And I get in the car and we're riding home with Rob. A couple of days later, I'm like, what is the big deal? By the third week, it hit me, and I said, "Oh, whoa, that's what they're talking about." And it's just it sucks the life right out of you. I mean, it was horrible, and to just think that there are. I mean, I'd be sitting there getting my chemo treatments, and next to me be somebody's grandmother. It would just break my heart to see these people. And mine was a minor. I mean, it was cancer, no, obviously, but man, some of these people, there was just no life left in them. It was just there was no fight left in them.
Yeah.
And I guess I had so much fight because I saw an end. I saw an end. I had 7 weeks. I had, they had 35 treatments of radiation, 7 treatments of chemotherapy. I saw an end. But then there.
And
are
you
others,
said it was 3. Did you say 3 days in or 3 weeks in? It started.
3 weeks in.
That's when you started getting these horrible.
That's when it started to hit me. About the fifth week, and it was like, oh my gosh! And I still had 2 more weeks to go. I was like, you got to be kidding me. The night we got home from the doctor, where they gave me the diagnosis for this thing going on my throat and told me what it was and what needed to happen, and we're laying in bed talking that night, and I said, well, in my 20s, I got run over by a car, lost my mom, and all these, brain surgery, vocal cord surgery, all this stuff. Now brain surgery. I said, I guess God's trying to tell me something. She said, would you please listen this time?
Oh, man.
She said, would you please? She said, how many tragedies can one family withstand? And
you're like Job, man. This is like the book of Job.
Well, through all these things, one thing I have learned that God has been very faithful to me, even in times when I have not been faithful to Him.